Hey, what's up? This is Jeremy, founder of quickmail.io.
Hey, and this is Jack, Chief Lead Generation Officer at Salesbreadcom, coming at you with another podcast episode. This time, it's a water cooler chat because it's a water cooler. That's right. And Jeremy, I wanted to tell you about the list building genie that I just met, and he's going to grant us one wish. It's up to you to choose which wish you would prefer.
Love it already.
That's right. Yeah, and let's get right into the question, and then we'll hear from our sponsors in a second. But this is the question: the list building genie that I met has decided to grant us a wish. We can have one of two options. Option one, Jeremy, is
not a great genie if I only had two options, but fair enough.
It's not the best genie. It's not the best, but it's worth considering. Okay, so option one is this genie, Jeremy, will go and find every single user of your competitors and put them in a nice little list for you. Okay, option two is this genie will make a list of every single ideal customer that's considering using a product in your space. They say, man, maybe we should start checking out this product, looking into it. And I want to know which list you would prefer.
Okay.
But
first.
But first, of course. And my video is off today, ladies and gents. I'm coming at you from a cave deep 20,000 leagues under the sea. So forgive the non-video today.
That'd be badass, actually, right? From under the sea. But yeah, I would want to see it. So yeah.
That's true. I'm in a nuclear sub. Okay, so
that's right.
I'll kick things off, Jeremy. If you're looking to generate one lead per day, look no further than Salesbread.com. We send ultra personalized cold emails and LinkedIn messages to, bring you one lead per day. So if you want to stop figuring it out yourself and just spend more time closing, head over to Salesbread.com/contact and get in touch.
All right, that sounds good. Let's do that. And if you want to do it, to do some cold outreach yourself and need a tool for that, I think you do yourself a favor by going to quickmail.io and checking what we have to offer. We're absolutely fantastic for agencies, how to deal with multiple clients on your own and do the cold outreach by email. And we have the great photo warmer for email deliverability. So you make sure you land in the inbox and not in a spam folder. All right.
Well said, Jeremy. Okay, so let's talk with this genie here. Option one.
You got his address?
Yeah, the genie. Yeah, I have the lamp.
The bottle number 3. Yeah.
Find. Right. No, so remember, option one is download a list of everyone using your competitors' tools.
Right.
Option two is a list of people considering the product line itself. In QuickMail's case, it would be people saying, maybe it's time for us to get one of those cold email tools. And
that's tricky. That is tricky. Here's what goes through my head. And this is a water cooler. So I do what I want. So I'm going to say what goes in my through my head. The first thing is that it's cool to have discussion with people that express interest in, for example, doing cold outreach or email. For us, it's slightly too early. Like it will take a hell of a lot of education if someone just looks to start cold email. Like we're a bit more advanced software, so we are not really for other solution like GMass or other solution out there that is like a very quick thing. You plug it in and it's like, and then you get it. For us, like it does require like, you have a proper investment in a team or some workflow, like you're dedicated to make things work on a sort of recurring basis and having some engine that you want to build, right? So we're not that keen in people just new to the space in that sense, right? We do have some, but because we're more advanced, it's like, yeah. You know what I mean, right?
Interesting, Jeremy. Yeah. Okay. So you're going with the competitor
I didn't say that either. I'd love that genie to change slightly the wish and actually grant me people who are my ideal customers. Then that'd be good. I don't care if they have, you know, if they're already using another software
Yeah.
or not.
Okay, so I'm going to push back a little bit. The Genie, like I said, it's not that great of a Genie. No, the Genie is not that great. It's going to say, don't get picky, Jeremy. It's one or the other. And what do you tell it?
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to answer right now. Maybe I can share.
Yeah, share your take.
Share
your take.
Okay.
Okay.
So my take is, if that competitor list has two qualities, then I'm going to go for it all day long. Quality one is, are the people that use your competitors likely to like your tool, your product, your service? Okay. So basically, just because they use the competitor doesn't necessarily mean they're perfect fit. And in QuickMail's case, that's nail on the head. You already hinted at that. And I think that's important to think about. And number two is, do you have something different and better that can easily sway these users, these customers, away from their current tool? If not, forget it. You know, I'm thinking, Jeremy, about, let's move away from the tech space. Let's say you're a wealth management advisor, right? And you've got clients, and frankly, once you get somebody to work with you, not only do you work with them for years, but you probably work with them for generations, right? Like, you'll work with their kids and maybe their kids if you live long enough.
If you do a good
because
job.
that's exactly, that's how the industry is. So let's say I'm a wealth manager. If someone's like, hey, I'll give you everyone that's using a wealth manager around your size, I probably wouldn't be very interested, because there's so much customer loyalty in that space. I don't think I'm going to,
as you mentioned, that you're someone who maybe do NFTs, for example, or, you know, something really special that is just like the flavor of the moment, or something new that your existing one will never do, right? So that could be one thing. So right? That's what you're saying.
So hold on, I'll accept half of that. You do have to be doing something different,
right?
And part two is, their customer base has to care enough to think about switching.
That's
right.
true.
Like, the NFT is cool, but effective only if a lot of the wealth management clients have been asking for it, and their you know, manager is just not really modern.
But here's the trick, Jack. If people goes and see a wealth manager, is to get return on investment. If you consistently can prove that your return on investment is twice bigger, or like something significantly bigger than the one you're going with, they're going to switch. And I think it's the same for the software. Like, people using us is to get replies, right? And to get their email delivered. And in fact, we see that if the other competitors are not delivering properly, then we see an influx wave of people coming to us and say, hey guys, you know, I heard you're good at deliverability. And I asked, you know, what tool are you using? And then, you know, it's obvious there's a few tools that actually we are getting lead from because of this topic. So at the end of the day, people should not forget what they're offering, you know, at the end of the day. Sure, you can put like glittering and stuff like that, but, you know, there is a core nugget of value that someone provide. Like, even for cars, you know, at the time where people had horses, and then they move, you know, Ford comes and offer the car. It didn't offer like a different product. He offered actually going there faster with less maintenance. It's like, this is the sort of things that is, you know, that people were looking for. And I think it's the same thing for this. It usually come in a form of something different, but if you do it like miles better, like if everyone had donkeys and then you come up with a horse, then everyone will use the horse, and it's still the same animal, same product in that sense. It's just better. So but obviously there is a flip side of that, is if you're like, it's gonna be massively better in order to move if people don't like moving, right? So maybe 2% increase on my financial advisor or whatever. Not so 200 consistent. Like, I'm just going to say like, what the hell you're doing, man? I'm switching.
So maybe
small money with it.
I suppose we're getting at like an equation. So it's like factoring in switching costs, industry churn rate, and let's call it the buzz around your product or service, the excitement factor, if you will. Depending how those three factors play out will tell you how to choose. I might be forgetting something, but if we look at the wealth manager, you're looking at like customer churn is really low, and you would need to have a hell of a differentiator to start that conversation. Okay.
Honestly,
And
insurance are the worst.
yeah,
Because you only get to taste insurance
right.
when there is a problem. So if there is no problem, you will not want to switch. It's like, what do you mean? You're like 10 times better in recovery. Yeah, I never have a problem with this guy. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be, that's the worst actually.
Yeah. So, okay. So in that case then, Jeremy, insurance, it sounds like you would be choosing the list of people looking for an insurance solution.
Yep, 100%. I will try to capture
100%.
them before. In this case, email. Oh, that's true. That's a really good point. Like, it depends on your product. Like for quick mail, for example, even knowing my competitors, like I know, like if they come from this competitor, I'm gonna pitch deliverability. If they're coming from this competitor, I'm gonna pitch, scalability because they don't scale. If they come from this competitor, I'm gonna pitch the ability to actually have multiple accounts. So obviously, any competitor is going to be hard. You need to figure out also which competitor they come from, because it's a different book of play. And for some people like deliverability, everyone's looking for deliverability. So this competitor, it's easy to sway. But for other ones, like they are very good for if you're a small account or if you're alone, then that works great. But as soon as you start scaling in terms of, if you have like multiple clients, then it becomes problematic. So getting the whole list there's a lot of noise and waste in that list. I will need to pre-qualify it again one step further, which is that could be done, you get the list and then you do some extra work on it. But other than that, as naked list may not be that great.
Right. Yeah, especially, okay, so there's like a messaging issue. It's like, it would be nice to know their current pain points based on what they're using now. So
yeah, that'd be brilliant.
In the wealth. Yeah. So there's been a couple strange campaigns. I say strange because I kind of knew too much. So without going into a terrible amount of detail, I was running a campaign that was sort of, well, I can just say it was selling like 401k benefit plans, right?
Okay.
And there are resources that tell you things like that I wouldn't want the world to know, but they're actually public, at least in the States. So you could pay a service. And if you go to this website that I have in mind, I won't share it because I'm not going to promote it, but it looks like it was made in 1997 and they charge an obscene amount of money for a subscription for 3 months. And what they end up giving you is the annual returns for their 401k plans so you're able to see not only who's using what competitor, Jeremy, like that is public apparently, but you could also see how much money their employees got, or how much what was the rate of return for each of their employees' plans.
Right.
So the campaign that we were working on, and again, this is strange, we had to revise it, but at face value, it was like, hey, Joe, we know your employees got a 1.3% return last year. Like that is copywriting firepower, but it has the uncomfortable, you know too much about me factor going on. And I'm hearing, circling back, that missing link between not just the list of everyone using competitors, but which competitor and which kind of customer are they, right? Are they savvy? Are they brand new? That stuff is missing in order to make that truly valuable, right?
Yeah, for us, it's very important. There will have to be a stage no matter what, right? Because, the list of, it's tricky, man. I'd probably go with my list of competitors if I know, because at the end of the day, you could always like retarget them, in Facebook ads or stuff like that. You could potentially, a simple thing is like, for example, we have every 2 weeks, we have webinars on QuickMail. So if you go to quickmail.io/webinar or webinars, try one of those two, or otherwise use the banner. The hello banner is always like advertising the next webinar, and they're absolutely fantastic. They're great, and they cater to one audience. And so if you're interested in those webinars and you register for that, there's a higher chance, it's not like 100% chance, but there is a higher chance that you will be benefiting from quick mail more, than if you were going with one of our competitors. And I think that's the sort of thing that will be great. So then you can have a list of all your competitors and then sort of filter it that way. Like you just offer them value. Like, hey, this is a great webinar about XYZ. If you're not interested in XYZ, there's no chance on earth you're going to really register for that, and even less to sit down, and even less to spend a whole hour, listening to that. But if you are, then that's a good signal that, hey, by the way, I noticed that, you're using one of our competitor, and, we just want to highlight a few key points that may be of interest to you. What do you think?
Wait, are you saying this is in the cold email or something?
No, I would basically, maybe if I were going to the cold email and so on, I would probably go through a filtering process. And for me, the filtering process would probably be to use a webinar. So I would advertise to this crowd a good webinar on cold email for, agency that does XYZ kind of thing, right? And so that will be probably my gate of entry. So I will use that. Because if they're not using my competitor, they're probably too small for me anyway. Like if they're not using any tool at all, they're too small of a company for me, right?
Or, and I think more importantly, they don't believe what they need to believe before they're ready to buy.
Yes, that's right. They haven't experienced it yet. They're not trying. And sometimes we got great surprises, right? It's not that our ideal customer profile is like 100% of our clients. We do have like clients that are completely outside, and it's a bit like the Bill Gates type of thing. Like you got one guy with like massive stuff and it's not replicable type of a situation. Sure. It's not our audience, but it does get a lot of value from it. So they are those outliers, I would say.
Outliers. Sure. Okay. So for me, I'm just thinking about rounding out this water cooler with a thought, Jeremy.
Still got some water. Like I'm good.
Keep talking. I don't know. Okay, I can. So let's go down this path and see how much water cooler minutes this burns up. But I don't think there's a genie needed to make these scenarios come to life.
Of course, you can go to Facebook or whatever. There's a hacky way to figure out, what tool other people are using.
I think it's even more straightforward, right? Like, for the majority of technologies, you can use built with and download all the current users.
Yeah, those stuff. Yeah.
2 million Shopify users in the US that also use AdRoll and whatever. Like, you can have that, and that would cover the current customer list.
If you're what do you mean? If you're a Spotify competitor, just good luck.
No, did I say Spotify? I think I said Shopify.
Oh, Shopify. Sorry. If you're a Shopify competitor, sure, you're gonna have like plenty of things, but how many of them will be willing to switch? Like that's gonna be like super hard. Versus,
but
hey, I want to start my new. So it could be actually the wrap up of this water.
Well, hold on. Like, wait. So we covered how to get the competitor list, but how do you get is that where you were going?
No. I was going direction.
Then the people that, if you wanted a list of those that are currently looking to first take hold of this product or service you offer, well, that's intent data. Services like Bombora can provide that to you so that you know who's searching for what. So again, not every tool is able to be pulled up here. I mean, for example, we were running a campaign that was going after teams that use Salesforce and Slack. Well, Slack isn't a public facing tool. Like you can't see if a website hosts it, but what you can do, which is kind of sneaky, is like just every company is like company.slack.com is their workspace. So you could just plug in the domain without the extension .slack.com. And if it pulls up a 404, they probably don't use Slack. If it pulls up a 202, then the response code tells you if they are likely, not 100%, but likely a Slack user. So we did.
They tried at least.
You can find. No, so we were able to get a list of Salesforce users. That technology is trackable because it's like they use it for like newsletter signups and that kind of thing. And then you took that list and then did the query thanks to Python. You just saw who got you can even see who uses like enterprise Slack. We had one campaign that was interested in like big companies with hundreds of users on their channels. And so you can kind of get sneaky with it. Where am I going with this? I don't even remember.
But I think it's cool. It's that you don't need a genie. You just need some street smart
Python, a few lines of code. Right. So I always ask people, and this is like the revealing insight that fuels stuff like that Slack hack or something. I just ask them, like, how do you do this manually? Oh, well, I'll go to their website, check the team members, and find the team member with this keyword. Well, you can also just use Google and say like site equals this, URL contains team or about, and keyword equals this, this, or this. And then that's like a massive shortcut. You could go through 1,000 rows in 10 minutes and get what you need. So I don't know. I wish more salespeople thought like programmers.
That's the end of the story, right? If only we don't have sales
or the beginning
anymore. Just programmers. That's all we need. Give me more programmers.
What a nightmare. Whoa, what a nightmare.
That's been funny. But I think so this is interesting. For me, the takeaway is that Genie may have different success depending on the type of businesses. Like for some business, it will be better to go after their competitors, and for some other, because it pre-validate them or pre-filter them, whether like they're further in their journey of that skill or that whatever technology they want to master, or for some it'll be like the intent, like capturing them at the early, before they start and get
committed.
Committed.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's very interesting. Like Shopify is a perfect example. You would want to capture them before they go and set up all their stuff in Shopify and build all their stuff. It's interesting. And if you are,
what's like a perfect example of a high churn thing? I'm thinking like if somebody,
that's a nice idea. A high churn.
Yeah.
You will want your competitor list if there is a high chance that they will churn very quickly.
Yeah, interesting. So I'm wondering. It would, that's kind of funny. It's like if you find yourself in a high churn industry, the competitor data becomes more valuable.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good one to say.
Okay, so I would wrap up with this, Jeremy. You can do good stuff with both kinds of lists. You're out of water.
I'm out of water.
Crap.
Man, let's go back to work.
You can do things with both lists, and luckily this Genie doesn't exist, meaning it's not either or. It's how can you slice both of them to your advantage? And then, like you said, Jeremy, pre-qualify them, put your own filters. Even like you said, like use a webinar as a filter to figure out who's worth winning over, right?
One thing I will add is that if you're forced into getting the other list that you don't want. So for me, what I'll do is then I'll take them on a course journey, or maybe, 6 months or whatever of content data, purely to give them up to speed and seeing, the advantage of using our solution long-term versus using, one of our potential other competitor.
I like that. Yeah, no need to burn through the list, right?
Absolutely. And so sure, it will take time. They will be of a less sort of like quality because again, they may want to try, but they're not quite committed. But again, you can offer, something for people on this list to just like, hey, try it for 6 months or whatever. Here is like a special package for it. And those people will actually be, talked to or whatever. And they will resonate.
Yeah, more receptive, right?
More receptive. That's the word. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
There's more here. Hold on. There's one more thing. I'm sure they don't have this, and because it's a water cooler. What the hell, Jeremy? We'll
Absolutely,
keep going.
man.
By the way, if you don't want to hear me ramble, Jeremy and I made a cold email masterclass for you because it isn't any fluff. It's just straight cold email tips from building your whole series. If you've made it this deep into a rambling water cooler conversation, I know you're going to love the course. Check out course.quickmail.io. Okay, so what I was going to add, Jeremy, is I see this bus driving around in my city here, and it's wrapped from front to back with an ad that said, "Snap, crack, pop, chiropractic adjustments for $49. Go to snap, crack, blah, blah, blah URL." And what's relevant about that ad is chiropractics is an industry that I believe has this like barrier or maybe churn rate where there's 99% of the population is in the first category where they're like not even using a competitor. They're like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll consider chiropractic one day. So this company that does lead gen for chiropractors, all they did was they're like, okay, we need a super compelling offer to shake the group of people that are in the first, scenario into action. This would be the NFT campaign to existing money market folks. Okay. This is like, hey, $49 adjustments. That's like, I don't know, 3 times less than most people expect to pay. And it works really well. They've been driving around for years now with that same ad. So it's profitable. And so if you're in a market where there's
because the second session
high
is
switching costs,
2,500. All paying in advance.
Yeah. But the lesson for me was if people are not actively searching, or maybe they are not using a competitor right now, and you need to shake them into action, you need to sweeten the deal. And that company figured out how to do it. So what a water cooler.
Yeah, great words to end the water cooler. Thank you so much, Jack. I think it was a good one.
Okay, so I'll say, hey, get back to work. I just heard someone say I got to get back to work.
Yeah,
that's me.
Got to go back. All right, take care. Bye, Jack.
See you, Jeremy. Bye.